much for taking the time to talk to us for the Star City Stories. I've been so excited to want to, after I met you and your executive director and staff last fall when you all made the trek up here at Wintergreen on First Friday Walk. Ironically, this is another First Friday, so the timing is perfect. Tell us, for those that may not understand or may not be aware, what kind of jewel is the Maine Arts Commission, and why is what you do so vital to communities?
Sure. So the Maine Arts Commission is your state arts agency. We receive funding appropriated by the Maine State Legislature and the National Endowment for the Arts. And every state and U.S. jurisdiction has a designated state arts agency. And so we represent Maine. And quite honestly, the importance of it is very simple. America's communities need the arts. And so that's kind of the groundwork for what we do. Our mission here at the Maine Arts Commission is to foster and encourage public interest and participation in the cultural heritage and artistic expression in our state. And we do that through partnerships, collaborations, initiatives, advocacy, and grant funding for organizations, individual artists, and communities throughout Maine.
Very important work indeed. Kind of explain to people and to why is art so important? When we talk about the arts, let's talk, I guess, in schools, when we talk about wanting to balance budgets and balance school budgets, sometimes the arts, unfortunately, is the first to be on the chopping block as opposed to academics or even sports. It shouldn't be that way. The arts are very vital and important. Talk about that and what they do to communities in the component of increasing economic development and well-rounded communities.
Absolutely, yes. Arts are really absolutely vital to the success of not only the social fabric of our communities and, like you mentioned, education, but economic development as well is a huge important factor. And Maine has a unique cultural landscape. We have an incredible breadth of artists and creatives who work in the state, performers, creative businesses, all contributing to the overall economic creative economy here and our quality of life. In 2024, actually, there was a report that came out from the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis and the National Endowment for the Arts. And the Maine arts and culture sector was a $2.2 billion industry, which is 2.6% of the state's GDP, which, if you don't know, that's more than double the lobster industry.
Right. Pretty impressive. Yes.
Yeah. So there's absolutely no doubt that, arts and culture contribute to Maine's GDP. And when compared to other states in the US, Maine consistently punches above its weight, particularly given its smaller population size. Mm-hmm. So nationally, the arts contribute roughly $877 billion to the US economy. By contrast, Maine's contribution to its GDP represents a larger portion compared to many other states that have a larger population. So Maine ranks in the top 20 of US states for arts and culture impact on its economy. So like I said, really definitely punching above its weight. If you look at other states like New York, California, or Texas, Maine's contribution per capita is higher than the national average, which really, I think, reflects the importance of the cultural industries on the state's economic landscape.
Right. But let's take that a step further for people who say, okay, well, the numbers seem to support that. But some people view art as a luxury and not a necessity. Why should we change that mindset?
Absolutely. I think there's so much that the arts aren't just nice, they are necessary. I think beyond the economic impact, there's this understanding of art bringing us together, connecting our shared similarities that we have as humans, as individuals. They make our communities not only livable, but lovable. They're places that when arts is incorporated into everything that we do, into our civic life, our daily life, our communities, our schools, we create places that people want to stay, that they want to live in. And for a place like Maine, I think that that's just really evident and just all the more important for a state like ours.
How do you take that a step further, and how do you partner with municipalities to kind of support the arts programs in each individual communities, especially rural communities like Aroostook County and Presque Isle in northern Maine?
Absolutely. So Maine being the I think it's the second most rural state in the country.
Mm.
Like I said, is still home to a really rich, diverse arts landscape. And creative individuals are constantly coming here to find inspiration in Maine's natural beauty, our culture, our sense of place. But
Sorry to interject, but let's
no, go
clarify.
ahead.
When we talk about arts, we're not just talking about museums and galleries and pictures and paintings. I mean, that's included, but it's such. I mean, arts kind of goes beyond that. It's entertainment, it's dance, it's visual, it's even doing what I do right now, which is digital
Yes.
and new media. All of that is under that umbrella, and all of that can move a community forward. Yes.
Absolutely, 100%. When we talk about arts and creatives and culture, we're talking about everything you just mentioned and more.
Mhm.
Boat builders, woodworkers. We have
Yes.
amazing people who are doing
Writers.
writers. Exactly. There's so many different avenues for, arts, and maybe arts is, brings up the wrong kind of ideas in people's minds. But I think this idea of makers and creative work
Mhm.
maybe encapsulates it so much more, but it really does cover all of those different types of genres and mediums.
Mhm.
And I think the ruralness of Maine is an attractive piece of it, but it also poses some challenges.
Really?
And
How
I
so?
think, go ahead.
How
Oh,
so?
you said how so?
Yeah.
So I think sometimes, sustaining a creative practice, being isolated when you're in a more rural community, having limited resources, or maybe some economic pressures are
Mhm.
all those types of challenges that are presented in these more rural communities. One of the ways that we help mitigate those barriers at the Maine Arts Commission is with programs like the Rustic Creative Network. So we started that program a few years ago, working with Wintergreen Arts Center
Mhm.
to support individual artists who live and work in Aroostook County. So artists through that program can apply for microgrants of up to $1,000 to help create new and existing work, or enhance their artistic skills, abilities, participate in opportunities that will help benefit their creative careers. So a number of ways that they can apply and get resources through that program. And that started out as a pilot project, and we're hoping to take that kind of model and implement it in other parts of the state, other rural areas that could use a similar type of network and support system.
I think that's really cool too, because you're kind of helping to teach the artists about the business aspect of what they do and how to advocate for themselves and how to promote themselves and work with and partnerships and collabs with other entities and organizations, like you mentioned, Wintergreen, which we love, by the way, we love Wintergreen. But how artists can kind of network with one another to promote each other so that they can uplift each other. Yes.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yes. We're far more powerful, and I think we'll do better work when we're working together and lifting each other up, rather than trying to, focus on ourselves. So absolutely, creating a network like that is a great opportunity for artists to support each other while supporting themselves.
Explain to people what it's like, or I'm sure when you're working with, I guess, communities that have small arts programs on the rise, but they want to do something. And what is it like to have a community that does not have that at all, have any aspect or any connection to the arts?
Yeah, I think, it's something that, well, firstly, I think you can always find arts in every county or every city or town or county. I think that sometimes it's harder to find, but it's always there. And there's the big hitters in Maine, thinking of Portland and Rockland, but there's a number of other places throughout the state, like Belfast, which has a
Mhm.
great, vibrant art scene with strong artist community, or Blue Hill and Deer Isle, which is home to Haystack Mountain School of Crafts, which attracts artists and creatives and craftspeople, which help contribute to that community's cultural landscape. And bringing people together through these different avenues is just such an important piece. And I think, some of the key findings I'm sorry, I just want to bring up one other little data point
By all
that's,
means, yes.
yeah. So, the National Governors Association in 2019 put out a report called Rural Prosperity Through the Arts and Culture Sector.
Mhm.
And some of the key findings in there, I think, are really great at highlighting what the arts can do for these places that maybe don't have a lot of creativity that's as robust as other places. So some of these findings were, showing that organizations experienced population growth 3 times higher than rural counties that lacked some of these creative and cultural institutions and offerings. And that those counties also had incomes up to $6,000 higher. And 2 out of 3 rural businesses report that arts and entertainment are important for attracting and retaining workers. So all of that kind of feeds into this idea that, the more that we can support culture, creativity, arts workers, cultural bearers in these places where it's maybe hard to find is just going to make these places just more attractive for a number of different reasons.
So what's next? As we are soon, we will be getting into the spring and summer season, and obviously the arts are very, very active during the warmer months. Of course, we have arts year round. But what's next for Maine Arts Commission? What are you all? What's kind of on the radar for you, and how can people kind of get tapped in and collab with you, or learn from you and partner with you?
I think there's so much that folks can do individually on their local levels. Engaged with the arts is the number one thing I think that you can do to support us, but also your own communities. Attend a First Friday Art Walk. I think, go to local galleries and support artists when you can. That's always really important. I think just reach out to us. We have a couple of grant opportunities coming up. One is our Creative Communities Grant that opens on February 12th. That's open to any nonprofit and municipality throughout the state to help support arts in our communities. And, we have tons of new ideas for the future of integrating arts into things like our health and healthcare systems here in Maine, into our municipalities and our cities and towns work, and also just supporting individual artists. So I would say reach out to us, ask questions, and don't be afraid to just get out into your own community and support the local creative organizations and individuals. It goes a long way.
Before we wrap this up, I expect that you guys are going to be making your way up here in a few weeks, because we've got an artistic event that's happening. Poetry Out Loud. Talk about that. What exactly is that? And how cool is it you guys are bringing it up our way?
Poetry Out Loud is a fantastic organization. That is a partnership that we have with the NEA and the Poetry Foundation. And this is its 20th year. So we're really excited that in our 20th year of participating, we'll be hosting a true Northern regional competition. And Poetry Out Loud is for high school students all across the state of Maine that recite poetry. And then each state selects a shining star student to move on to a national competition in Washington, D.C. in the spring.
Exciting.
So yes, it's very exciting. It's really inspiring. The students are all phenomenal. And it's just a really great opportunity to see the power of sharing art in poetry and the literary arts in communities, and having it come from young people's voices is just so uplifting. So we're really excited about that.
We're excited about having it too, and making that a real community event where the whole community kind of comes out and support these youth, and also share. And maybe there are a few people out there who do spoken word and want to kind of step up and do that and explain. But the idea of this idea exchange and this artistic exchange with one another from different generations, collabing and obviously partnering with your dynamic organization. For those that may want to kind of look you all up and kind of research and find out more, how can we do that? Kind of give us your website and your social media.
Yeah. Social media. We're on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, all of those. And always just going to our website at mainarts.maine.gov. And just get in touch with us. We're always happy to chat with folks and to talk all things related to arts.
Oh, love it. Can't wait to see you in a few weeks. Thank you so much for guesting on Star City Stories. And I don't know if you hear it all the time, but you're definitely going to hear it from me. Thank you, and for your team, your staff, your organization, what the commission does every single day in just allowing the beauty of arts to exist in our community. It is a necessity, not a luxury, and it makes you feel alive. If anything, it just makes you feel alive.
Yes. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Sean. This has been a great morning.